Welcome to the Dragon Table. In this video, I am going to do an abbreviated playthrough of the game Through the Ages, A New Story of Civilization. If you have questions about setup or details of the rules, I did 3 rules videos about this game, and I will put the links in the description. I'm not going to do a full playthrough. I'm going to go through the first few rounds, then I'll skip to the end of Age 1 and do a few rounds, then I'll skip to the end of Age 2, do a few rounds, and then skip to the end of the game. This is going to be a 2-player game with red player and blue player. To start with, red player is going to be my first player, which is why Theoden is in front of that player board. Okay, red player has 1 civil action to take cards. Blue player has 2 in this first round. Red player is going to take Moses for their civil action. Then they go through production. Score, science, and culture. Right now, science rating is 1, culture rating is 0, so no culture score. Then evaluate corruption, which is not a problem at this point. Food production is 2. Food consumption is 0. Resource production is 2. And then we're not drawing military cards during the first round. Blue player has 2 actions that they can use to take cards. Blue player is going to take 2 cards, Rich Land, which goes into his hand, and Library of Alexandria. A wonder that we will turn sideways. Then they'll do production, same thing. They get 1 science point, no culture. Corruption's on issue. Food production is 2, food consumption is 0. Resource production is 2. And no military cards this turn. So that's the end of the first round. Now we're going to replenish the card row. Because it's a 2-player game, we get rid of this card and then slide all of these down and then replenish from the Age A deck. And that is the end of Age A. So now we're going to take the Age 1 civil deck and put it out, as well as the Age 1 military deck. And now it is the red player's turn. Whoops, Moses goes in his hand. He's going to spend 1 civil action to play Moses, put Moses into play. Then he'll take a civil action to increase his population, which costs 1 less because of Moses. So that will only cost him 2 minus 1, 1 food, and he can increase his population. Then he's going to spend carnage. Going to spend a civil action to take the Hanging Gardens. Turn that sideways. And spend a civil action to take the card Engineering Genius, which goes into his hand. He's going to go ahead and build a warrior for 2. It costs 2 resources, builds a warrior, and increases his strength by 1. So that is the end of his turn. So discard excess military cards, don't have any yet. Score science and culture, so score 1 point in science, none in culture yet. No corruption, food production is 2. Food consumption is 0 right now. Resource production is 2. And then draw military cards. He'll draw 1 military card because he has 1 military action left. These cards, the cards in your hand, both the civil actions and the military cards, would be hidden. I'm just doing them face up for the sake of the video. Your opponent would not know what you have. And now reset your actions. So we'll put all of our little cubes back. And then replenish the card row. These 2 get discarded, and slide all of these down. It is now the blue player's turn. The blue player is going to take Alexander the Great and then spend a civil action to put him into play, which gives him additional strength, plus 1 strength for each military unit. As a political action, you may remove Alexander from play and add 1 yellow token from the box to your yellow bank. Then I'm going to take a civil action to build another mine. You know what? And they'll do that using Rich Land, which means pay 1 less. Let's do that. And let's get a new worker. So we'll pay 2 food and get a new worker. And blue is not going to take any military actions. So he would discard excess military cards, doesn't have any. Score science and culture. 1. No corruption. Food production is 2. Food consumption is 0. Resource production is 3 because they now have 3 workers on this bronze mine. And then draw military cards, and he can draw 2 because he has 2 military actions left over. And then reset actions. And replenish the card row. It is now the red player's turn. And his first cards to choose from are all clogged up with leaders, which is too bad because you cannot choose a leader from the same age if you've already taken one. I think he's going to use 1 civil action to play Engineering Genius, which lets him build 1 stage of a wonder and pay 2 less. So he would pay 0 to build the first stage of this wonder, but you still have to put 1 resource cube on it to show that you're building it. Then I think he's going to take the urban growth card. Put that in his hand. Let's do increase population because with Moses it costs 1 less, so we only have to pay 1. We get an additional worker. Or let's build another mine. That will cost 2. We'll put a worker up there. And no military actions, not going to take any. So discard excess military cards, don't have to. Score science and culture. 1 science point. No corruption, food production is 2. Food consumption is now 1 because he's uncovered this spot on the bank. Resource production is 3. And then draw military cards, 2. And then reset actions. Replenish the card row. I should have mentioned that there would have been a politics phase before the red players, well, at the beginning of the red player's turn. The reason there wasn't is because he only had these 2 cards, neither of which can be played as a politics card, so I didn't mention it. But here we can have politics phase on the blue player's turn. He's going to prepare an event. He's the only one that knows what this card is. So that's going to go in the future events deck face down. He scores 1 point because it's an age 1 card. And then we resolve the top card of the current events deck, which is development of settlement. Each civilization gains 1 population. It will come from your yellow bank into your worker pool. And now it is a blue player's turn. And he's going to take iron, put it in his hand, and breakthrough. He's going to build another warrior for 2. So that will increase his strength by 1 for the warrior and an additional 1 because of Alexander the Great's ability. So that takes his strength up to 4. And then he's going to take the frugality card. Sometimes loading up on cards is helpful for the future. Oh, whoops, this is a military action. If there weren't mistakes, it wouldn't be the dragon table. So the remaining civil action is going to use to build the first stage of the Library of Alexandria, which costs 1, and then we put the 1 resource on that to show that it is being built. That ends his turn. Discard excess military cards. Nope. Score culture and science. No corruption. Food production is 2. Food consumption is 1. Resource production is 3. And then draw military cards. So he's going to draw 1. And then reset actions. And then replenish the card row. Red player is going to prepare an event. 1 point for red for preparing an event. And then we turn over and resolve the first or the next current event card. Development of markets. Each civilization gains 2 food or 2 resources, and you can choose. Red player is going to choose resources, and blue player is also going to choose resources. And it's the end of the politics phase. I should have put this worker down here to cover up that smiley face. He's discontent. And 1 marker here to show discontent. Welcome to the dragon table. Okay, red player. I think the first thing they're going to do is probably build a temple using the urban growth card. Thaden, you're going to be in the way. So build or upgrade an urban building and pay 1 less. So it will cost 2 resources to build a new temple. We'll do that. So now 1 smiley face and +1 culture rating for red. Let's get knights and engineering genius. Let's increase population. So that will cost 3 minus 1 because of Moses. That will cost 2. So that'll cover up that corruption space. Increase population. Sometimes you have to make decisions based on whether or not corruption is going to be open at the end of your turn. That's all he's going to do now. Score science and discard excess military cards, not a problem. Score science and culture. Current science rating is 1, so +1. Current culture rating is 1, so +1. No corruption, which we just went over. Food production is 2. Food consumption is 1. Resource production is 3. And then draw military cards. Draw 2. Because he has 2 military actions left over. Replenish the card row. It's now blue player's turn. He does not have any cards that you would play during the politics phase, so we'll skip that and go straight to his turn. He's going to spend 1 civil action to build the second stage of the Library of Alexandria, which is 4 resources, 3, 4, and then 1 of them we place to show that it's being built. So I'm starting to think about corruption for this player. And let's go ahead and finish it. Let's finish the library. It's only going to cost 1 more. Turn that upright and take these resources off of it now. The Library of Alexandria says that you can have 1 extra civil card and 1 extra military card in your hand. You also get +1 culture rating and +1 science rating. So culture rating is here and science rating is here. I probably should have built a temple, but that's okay. We just have 1 discontent worker, everything's fine. Let's make another worker using frugality. Increase your population, and after you pay the food cost, gain 1 back. So it would cost 3 because we're over here, and then you get 1 food back. So he goes up there. And then with a civil action, he's gonna take alchemy. He's gonna spend 1 military action to play the tactics fighting band, which is only gonna be available to him for this turn, because for every 2 soldiers he has, he gets an additional 1 military point. He's got 2 soldiers, so that's 2 points +1, so he'll have an additional 1 point plus his bonus from Alexander the Great. That does not affect the army, it doesn't affect the tactic, it just gives you 1 point plus for each of these. This is still just going to be 1 bonus point, which makes him 5. Discard excess military cards, score, culture, and science. Culture +1, science +2, that's nice. No corruption, food production is 2, food consumption is 1, resource production is 3. Draw 1 military card because he has 1 military action left over. And then reset actions. Put his tactics banner on there. Oh, I didn't reset. I forgot to reset actions over here after the red player's turn. Don't worry, business as usual. Welcome to the dragon table. And replenish the card row. The red player is got politics phase now, and they're going to prepare an event. This is actually a colonization event. It goes on the future events deck. They score 1 culture point, and then we resolve an event from the top of the current events deck. Development of warfare. Each player with an unused worker may immediately build a warrior unit for free. Red will do that. Red will build a warrior for free. Takes him up 1. Sure. That'll give him 2 more points because of Alexander. Now for red player's turn. I'm going to use 1 civil action to take alchemy and 1 civil action to take Leonardo da Vinci. All right, we'll do this. So that costs 2. 1 of those has to go there. And then we'll go ahead and complete it for another 2. And then these get to come off. Turn that upright. Now the Hanging Gardens gives 2 smiley faces, boink, boink, and 1 culture rating. So now discard excess military cards. So 1 of these has to go. Then score culture and science. So culture is +2 and science is +1. Then corruption, not a problem this turn. Food production is 2. Food consumption is 1. Resource production is 3. And then draw 2 military cards. Reset actions, replenish the card row. And now it is blue player's turn. Blue player is going to prepare an event. It's an age 1 event, so he scores 1 point. And then we resolve the top of the current event stack. Development of agriculture. Each civilization gains 2 food. That comes out of your blue bank, goes onto your food, your farm card. And then we're going to shuffle the future event stack and place it on the current event stack space. The tactic fighting band now goes into the middle of the military board, so it's now available for anyone else. So if red player wanted to use it, they would have to spend 2 military actions to copy that tactic. Blue player is going to use breakthrough to develop iron. Iron costs 5 science points, so that takes him down to 0, but breakthrough lets him score 2 more. No, I don't like that one. I don't like that idea. Instead of doing that, let's develop alchemy instead. But same thing, alchemy costs 4, and then you get 2 back from breakthrough. Oops, why did I put a worker on this? Let us spend a civil action to build a temple, because these people are not super happy. So we'll do that. Now we have shiny happy people. Let's make another worker. That will cost us 3. And we're gonna snatch up this breakthrough card. I'm rather fond of them. Discard excess military cards. Score, science, and culture. So science is 2. Culture is 1. No corruption. Food production is 2. Food consumption is 1. Resource production is 3. And draw 2 military cards. And then reset actions. And replenish the card row. Red player, politics phase. Red player does not want to play an event card because it's going to force one of those cards in the current event deck to be flipped over. And some of those are going to be a benefit to the strongest player. The strongest player right now is blue. So red is going to avoid the possible badness happening by not playing an event card. He's going to use 1 civil action to replace his leader with Leonardo da Vinci. So Moses goes away. When you replace your leader, you get 1 civil action back. So we're going to take that one back. And Leonardo da Vinci's ability is your best lab or library produces an additional amount of science equal to its level. And every time you develop a technology, you gain a resource. So right now, this best lab produces 1, so we're going to get an increase of 1. There. I think we're going to go ahead and develop alchemy. That will cost 4, but every time you develop a technology, you gain a resource. Okay, let's spend 1 civil action to upgrade this lab to alchemy, which will cost 3, because it's 6 minus 3. So we'll do that. And this worker moves up to here. I gotta spend 3 on something or else I'm gonna have corruption. So let's create another worker that will cost 3 food. Let's get irrigation. And because we can, let's go ahead and we're gonna spend 2 military points or military actions, put those over here, to copy the tactic fighting band. So I'll put the red tactics banner on there, and that will give us 1 additional point. 3 warriors, so 2 of them make a fighting band. So we get 1 more point. So now discard excess military cards. So we've got to go down to 2. Score, science, and culture. No corruption. Food production is 2. Food consumption is 1. Resource production is 3. Draw military cards, no, because we don't have any leftover military actions. So reset actions. and then replenish the card row. Okay, that's a good introduction to the beginning of the game. I'm going to take a break here, and then I'm going to come right back, and we're going to jump into the end of Age 1 and the first few rounds of Age 2. I'll be right back. All right, we are now on the last, what's going to be the last turn of Age 1, and I know that because of the number of cards that are left in the Age 1 deck. It's the blue player's turn. The blue player is going to prepare an event. He scores 1 on the culture track, and then we resolve an event. Each civilization immediately scores culture equal to the amount of culture it produces. So they each score 2 points. Now what the blue player has to keep in mind on this turn is that at the end of the age, he's going to lose 2 yellow tokens from his bank, which means we're going to be exposing not only another -2 token or -2 icon for food consumption, but also he's going to need to have a happy face here. So I think what he's going to do is use 1 civil action to take the bread and circuses card, and then use a second action to develop the technology. So that will cost 3. And then he will spend a civil action and 3 resources. Oh, he doesn't have a free worker. Have to do this in a different order. Okay, so first he's going to create a worker. Doesn't have enough food to make a new worker. Okay, so we're going to take this back. I'm going to change this. That would be a wonderful thing to do, but instead he's going to have to play the reserves card in order to get more food, then spend an action to get a new worker who's immediately discontent, and then spend an action to build a temple, which is where that worker will go. So that'll give him another happy face and a culture point, or not culture point, increase culture rating by 1. But I think he is going to take the bread and circuses card. Oh, this goes back since he didn't spend that. I think he is going to take bread and circuses card into his hand. That's it for now. Discard excess military cards. He's good because he can have 1 extra one from the Library of Alexandria. Score culture and science. 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. No corruption. Food production is 3. Food consumption is now 2. Resource production is 2 here and 1 here. And draw military cards. Draw 2 military cards. And then reset actions. And now we replenish the card row. Okay, so that is the end of Age 1. So the first thing you need to do is check your hands and make sure that you don't have any Age A cards. Any Age A cards in your hand, or we won't have any military ones. Any Age A cards in your hand would need to be discarded at the start of Age 2. If there were any unfinished Age A wonders, they would also be discarded, but we only have finished wonders here. If there was an Age A leader in place, he would have to be discarded, but we do not have Age A leaders. But now we're going to lose 2 yellow cubes from each player's bank. So now they're angry because they need to have another happy face here. But it won't come into effect until the end of his next turn. So we take Age 1. Military deck is now out of play, and we're going to take Age 2, civil deck, shuffle it. And if you ever forget what you're supposed to do at the end of an age, it is spelled out on the civil age deck board. Age 2, civil deck, and Age 2, military deck. And then we finish filling out the civil card row. And now it is the red player's turn. He's not going to play anything during the politics phase. Spend 1 action to develop knights. That will cost 5. And then we'll take a military action to build knights. That costs 3 resources and increases strength by 2. And then they're going to play a new tactic called Phalanx. With 2 soldiers and 1 horseback unit is a bonus of 3. So that is a improvement from fighting band. So now they lose 1 from the fighting band, but increase by 3 from the phalanx. And that tactic is theirs till the beginning of their next turn. I really would like to get iron. We can make another person. That would cost 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's build another farm for 2. I'll take frugality. Discard excess military cards. You only have 3 because he has monarchy now, so he has 3 military actions. Score science and culture. 2, 3, 4, and science and culture is 2. No corruption. Food production is 2 for here and 1 up here. And then food consumption is 2. And then resource production is 3. And then draw military cards, draw 1, because there's 1 remaining military action. Then reset actions. Replenish the card row. And it is now the blue player's turn. Now the blue player is the weaker civilization, so he's not going to play an event. Oh, this was from the last turn. We need to develop some happiness. He's going to develop the bread and circuses technology for 3. Then he has to, still doesn't have enough food. I'm going to have to disband a warrior for a military action. So that takes him down 1, and that worker is now discontent. But we can use him to build bread and circuses for 3. 3 resources, build bread and circuses, get 2 happy faces and an additional strength. Let's use an action to pick up irrigation, and I think go ahead and develop that for 3. On the red player's last turn, he developed the Knights technology, so he should have gained a resource because of his leader. So we're going to go ahead and don't do that. I'll try and correct my mistakes when I catch them. Welcome to the dragon table. Okay, so that's all of the actions he is going to take. He discards excess military cards. Then score culture and science. Science is 3. 1, 2, 3. Culture is 3. 1, 2, 3. No corruption. Food production is 3. Food consumption is 2. Resource production is 2 here and 1 here. And draw 1 military card, because he has 1 military action remaining. And then reset actions. Replenish the card row. It's now the beginning of the red player's turn, so the phalanx tactic now moves to the middle. You're going to prepare an event. This one. And because it's an age 2 card, they score 2 culture points for preparing that event. And now we're going to flip over and resolve a current event. Reign of Terror. The weakest civilization loses 1 population. So blue is the weakest civilization, so they have to lose 1 population. Well, I guess from here. Maybe? Ugh, I don't know. Yeah, because I can upgrade it. Okay, so they're going to lose population there. So they lose a farm. So the red player is going to develop iron. That's going to cost 5. And because of Leonardo, they get a resource. I think then they're going to upgrade from a bronze mine to an iron mine, which costs 3. That's the difference between the 2. Move up 1. Okay. And I think that they'd like to get the Universitas Carolina, which will cost 2 civil actions because it's on a spot with 1 civil action, but they already have 1 wonder already. So in order to take another one, you have to spend 2 civil actions to take it. And then they'll use Engineering Genius to build a stage of the wonder, paying 3 resources less, so they can build the first stage for free. And that's it for now. Discard excess military cards. They are fine. Score, culture, and science. Science is 4. Culture is 2. No corruption. Food production is 2 and 1 there. Food consumption is 2. Resource production is 2 here and 1 up here. And then draw military cards, 3. And then reset actions. And replenish the card row. And now it's the politics phase for the blue player, who's still weaker, so he's not interested in preparing an event. So he's going to take his turn, and the first thing he's going to do is spend 2 military actions to move his tactics banner onto phalanx. So he loses 1 point by taking it off of here, but gains 3 by moving it onto phalanx, because he does have 2 soldiers, or 2 warriors and a knight. Let's see, let's upgrade a farm and pay 2 less. So this will only cost 0 to upgrade to irrigation. Hopefully that will make up for losing that 1 population. He's going to use a civil action to take coal, and he is going to take an action to upgrade his lab, which will cost 3 resources, which increases science rating by 1. And then he's going to go ahead and take theology. And those are all of his actions. Discard excess military cards. He has to discard. He does not have to discard because he has Library of Alexandria, so he can keep 3. Score, science and culture. Science is 4. 2, 3, 4. Culture is 3. 2, 3. No corruption. Food production is 1 here and 1 here. Food consumption is 2. Resource production is 2 here and 1 here. And then draw military cards he can't because he used all of his military actions. So reset actions and then replenish the card row. And it is now the politics phase for the red player. Red player is going to prepare an event. It scores them 1 point because it's an age 1 card. And then we resolve this. It's a colony. So this is a vast territory. Whoever claims this colony will get 3 food, 3 yellow cubes from the box added to their yellow bank, and they will lose 1 resource, 1 blue cube from their blue bank. So starting with the red player, they can now bid or pass. Okay, the red player is willing to bid 1. The blue player will bid 2. So the blue player is going to win the bid. In order to colonize a territory, they have to send the equivalent of 2 strength to the colony, and they have to send at least 1 unit. So 1 warrior will go. So this is going to go back into the yellow pool, and he's going to discard this card for the bonus 1 on colonization. So that means he loses 1 point for sending a warrior, and then he also loses the phalanx bonus. But he gets this vast territory. He gets 3 food, that comes from here. We'll actually do this, we'll do 1 there, 1 there. It's 3 food, 3 yellow cubes from the box, and -1 blue cube back to the box. Back to the red player's turn. I think they're gonna take Engineering Genius. Oh, this is from the last turn, this is from the last turn. So they're gonna use Frugality to increase population by paying, the food cost is 4, but then they gain 2 back. Let's do 1 civil action to build the 2nd stage of this wonder. Oops. Let's upgrade this lab. That'll cost 3. And increase the science rating by 1. And with the last civil action, we're going to take journalism. It's a library card. That's all the actions that red player is going to take. So now discard excess military cards. Score, science, and culture. Science is +5. Culture is +2. No corruption. Food production is 2 here and 1 here. Food consumption is 2. Resource production is 2 here and 1 here. Draw military cards, 3. Reset actions, and replenish the card row. Blue player, politics phase, does not want to play an event. Okay, let's develop some technology. Let's do coal for 7 and theology for 2. Let's make a worker, or increase the population. That will cost 3. Okay, let's upgrade 2 levels from the bronze mine all the way up to a coal mine, so that'll cost 6. So that is 4, 5, 6. Boop, all the way up to there. What he can do though is for a military action, he can increase his population and build a new military unit that costs 1 resource and 1 food less than usual because of his leader, Frederick Barbarossa. So let's do that. So increasing the population would cost 2. And then building the new military unit would only cost 1. So we'll get 1 back from that. And now it's back to his phalanx working again. So he'll get 1 point for that warrior and then another 3 because the phalanx works again. Yes. And discard excess military cards. It's fine. Score, science, and culture. Culture is 3. 1, 2, 3. There's no corruption. Food production, there's 1 here and 1 here. Resource or food consumption is 1. And resource production is 1 down here, 1 here, and 1 up here. Then draw military cards. You'll draw 1. And then reset actions. Replenish the card row. So now I'm going to take another break, and I will jump back in when we're at the end of age 2 and do a few rounds into the beginning of age 3. So I'll be right back. Okay, it is the end of red player's turn. It is the beginning of the blue player's turn, and 2 things are about to happen. For one thing, we're going to resolve a war. That happens at the beginning of the blue player's turn because the blue player declared war during the politics phase of their last turn. So red player had 1 turn to try and build up their military in order to tie or defeat them. So now we're going to resolve it. This is a war over technology. The victor takes science points equal to the strength advantage from the defeated civilization. Special blue technologies can be stolen instead of science points equal to their cost. So what we do now is we compare the military strengths. Blue is at 21 and red is at 16. So blue wins the war, and he wins by 5 points. So the war gets discarded, and blue takes 5 science points from red. Red does not have any special blue technologies to steal, so he has to take science points. So red's currently at 27, so they'll go down to 22, and blue gets 5. So now the war is resolved, and we continue with the blue player's turn, at the beginning of which we're going to be replenishing the card row. When we do that, we are going to be ending age 2, because that is the end of the age 2 civil deck. So the first thing we're going to do is put out the age 3 civil deck. Then we're going to replace the age 2 military deck with the age 3 military deck. Now we're going to look for antiquated cards in the player's hands. Antiquated in age 3 would be cards from age 1. Red player is fine. Blue player is fine. Both leaders are from age 2, so that's fine. We don't have any uncompleted wonders. Now each civilization loses 2 yellow cubes from their bank. From there, oops. And then I'm going to replenish the card row with our first card from age 3. Nothing changes with the current events or future events decks. And then we continue in age 3. And it is the blue player's turn. Blue player is going to prepare an event. That's an age 2 event, so he scores 2 points. And then we reveal and resolve this current event. National pride. The civilization with the most culture points scores 5 culture points. And that's red. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Blue player is going to take cavalrymen. Oh, at this point, we also need to evaluate this tactics card, defensive army. The reason for that is because we're in age 3, so any age 1 or less units are going to cause this to be antiquated, which means it would be, instead of a 6-point bonus, would be a 3-point bonus. And that actually would have been true during the war because that was age 2 and he was using 2 warriors. So he only would have won that war by 2 points, or not by 5 points. Guess what? We're going to leave it as it is. Welcome to the Dragon Table. But now let's go ahead and fix it. So he loses 3 points. Blue player is going to take Transcontinental Railroad. Then with an action, they're going to build 1 stage of it, which would cost 3. And then we put a blue cube over here. And then they're going to build another stage, 3. That'll go over here. And then another stage for 3. And then the last stage for 3. So now these come off. And this gets flipped upright. And Transcontinental Railroad. One of your best mines produces twice as many resources. So the worker that's on it would produce 2 blue tokens instead of 1, which in this case is going to be the coal mine. And 4 strength in military. And those are all the actions. So discard excess military cards. He can have 7. Score, science and culture. No corruption. Food production is 4, so 2 cubes up here. Food consumption is 2, back down there. Resource production would be 1 per worker on each card, plus an additional resource on the best mine because of the Transcontinental Railroad. Then draw, military cards, 3, and reset actions. And we will replenish the card row, and now it will be the red player's turn. The red player is going to choose not to play a political action because they're the weaker civilization. Red player is going to take coal and strategy. And then develop coal. That's going to cost 7. And Isaac Newton, every time you develop technology, you get back 1 spent civil action. I think they're going to then develop strategy, which will cost 8. And again, develop technology, get a civil action back. And that gives them 3 military and 2 military actions. We're going to do 2 military actions and 10 resources to build. Oh, whoops, can't do that. Gotta have workers first. All right, let's make a worker that will cost 5, and then let's build a rifleman, which will cost 5. So that's 3 more points in military strength. Oops, I put coal in the wrong place. Coal goes over here. And let's use another action to upgrade to a coal mine, which would cost 3. And let's upgrade to selective breeding. That will cost 2. 1 more action. Let's upgrade to scientific method, which will cost 2. And that increases science by 1. Science rating. And that's all the actions. So discard excess military cards. You can have 5. Score, culture, and science. Science is 11, so this goes to 18. Culture is 3, so this goes to 3. 53. No corruption. Food production is 2, and then 3 and 3. Food consumption is 3. Resource production, we've got 1 down here, 2 here, and 1 up here. Draw military cards, maximum of 3. And then reset actions. Now we'll replenish the card row, and it is the blue player's turn. And the blue player is going to prepare an event. He scores 2 points. And then we resolve this. And it is a territory, wealthy territory. It gives you 9 resources and 4 blue cubes from the bank into your blue bank. Blue player is going to bid 4. Red player passes. So blue player wins, so they have to send 4 points to colonize this territory. 2 of those points are going to be this card, but he's also going to send a knight. So this yellow cube goes down here. This gets discarded and he loses 2 points in military because of the loss of that knight, but it does not affect his tactic. So he gets 9 resources. So we'll put 3 blue cubes up on coal since those are each worth 3. And he gets 4 cubes from the bank. He's going to take oil and develop it, which will cost 9. Oh, and because of Napoleon's bonus, he actually gets another -2 because Napoleon gives +2 strength for each different type of military unit, and he just lost 1 type of military unit. In light of that, let's go ahead and build a knight unit, which costs 3. I'll take it back up 2. Let's upgrade to an oil mine, which would cost 3 to upgrade from coal. I think we need to make another worker, which will cost 4. And then I think we need to build another farm, which will cost 4 if we just go ahead and build on irrigation. He's going to take efficient upgrade. He's not going to take any more actions. So discard excess military cards. I think he's still fine. Yes, because he can have 7. Score, science and culture. Science will be 6. 15. Culture is 4. Go to there. No corruption. Food production is 6 for the 3 workers that are up here. Food consumption is 2. Resource production, there's 1 here, 2 there, 1 up there, which is doubled because of the Transcontinental Railroad. And then draw military cards and reset actions. All right, I'm going to pause the video for a moment here, and we're going to skip ahead to the end of Age 3 and the end of the game. Be right back. And finally, we have almost reached the end of the game. It is currently the blue player's turn, and I am about to replenish the card row. And that's it. We're out of civil cards, so that triggers the end of Age 3. And we're going to do the normal end of age activities. First, we're going to look at cards in the player's hands and see if they're antiquated, which would be Age 2. Now we look at leaders. This is an Age 3 leader, this is an Age 2 leader. So he loses his leader, which means he loses his bonuses, which was 2 military tokens and +2 strength for each different type of military unit. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The only unfinished wonder is level 3, so that one's fine, or Age 3. And they lose 2 yellow tokens from their bank. Red player is already empty, yellow player, or blue player loses 2 yellow tokens. So now we've triggered the end of the game. Once that has happened, each player gets at least 1 more turn. So blue player is going to finish their current turn, then red player will get a turn, then blue player will get a turn, and then it's the actual end of the game. Blue player is going to prepare an event that's going to score 3 points. Then with 1 civil action, he's going to pay 9 resources to complete first space flight wonder. You immediately score 1 culture per level of each technology you have in play. Okay, since this is the last turn, let's go ahead and take Sid Meier and then put him into play, since we did not have a level 3 or an age 3 leader yet. Each of your labs produces an amount of culture equal to its level. So this would be 3, 6, 8, 10. But each produces 1 science point less. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So -4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, and the cannon becomes antiquated. So instead of that tactic counting for 9, it's now going to count for 5. Take Air Forces and develop it. I'm just going to stick that here. A little tight on space. So that's 12. And then pay 7 to make an Air Force, which gives him 5. 1, 3, 4, 5. And then Air Force will double the strength of an army, which his army is 5. He's got 1 army of 5, so that makes it another 5. Okay. He is going to get 1 more turn. Let's see if we can make a worker that would cost 7. And he has 7. So let's do that. And then we'll have a worker available on his next turn. Okay. Discard excess military card. Score, science and culture. So 12, culture is 15. No corruption. Food production is 6. Food consumption is 4. Resource production, 1, 2, 10. Reset actions. Now we'll replenish the card row again. That just means sliding these down because we don't have any more cards out. And it is now politics phase of red's turn. Red player is going to prepare an event. Score 3 points. 1, 2, 3. Let's build another Air Force for 7. So that's plus 5. And because we have 2 armies, it's 2 of these and 1 of those, and then 2 of these and 1 of those, because of the phalanx tactic, we double the score of another one, so that'd be 3 more points. Let us upgrade something using efficient upgrade. Upgrade a farm, mine, or urban building and pay 4 less. So let's upgrade that. That's another 2 science rating. Let's take democracy and go ahead and develop that. Discard monarchy. Develop democracy for 17. So we get 2 more civil actions. And military actions stay the same. We can build Age A temple for 3. That gives an additional happy face, which frees up that worker. And 1 more culture point. Not point, culture rating. The only thing they can do, which they will, just to keep the other player from getting it, is take rockets And go ahead and develop that for 8. That's it. That's all the red player can do. Discard excess military cards. Score science and culture. So we score 21 points in science, and then 8 points in culture. No corruption. Food production is 2, 5, 10. And food consumption is 6. Resource production, 1, 2, 6. That hurt, not having enough resource production. Too much food production, not enough resource production. Card row, just go away. It's now the blue player's turn. Blue player is not going to play any military cards because none of the events would give him points. The points would favor the red player. Let's develop mechanized agriculture for 7. Build another air force. That will cost 7. Which gives him 5. I'm going to take him off this mine. Don't need it. So we're going to destroy a mine, and then going to build a knight for 3, which gives him 2 points to put him ahead of the red player. He'll take multimedia and develop it for 9. Let's destroy another mine. And then build a multimedia library, which will cost 11. And give him 3 more science rating, 3 more culture rating. 3, 1, 2, 3. That's all you can do. Okay. Score science and culture. Again, scoring science doesn't really matter at this point. And then 18, the 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Corruption, no corruption. Food production is 6. Food consumption is 4. Resource production is just 10 now. And that is the end of the game. Time for final scoring. All right, end game scoring is actually relatively simple. You pick up all of the current and future events, find the age 3 ones, and you're going to score them all. So our first one is impact of science. Civilizations score culture based on the relative amount of science they produce. In a 2-player game, whoever produces the most science scores 10 points, and the other player gets 0 points. So red produces more science. That is your science rating. So red gets 10 points. Now we have impact of population. Each civilization scores 2 culture for every content worker above 10. So let's count the first 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So anything beyond this will count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So 26 points for red. For blue, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So pass this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 20 points for 10, or for blue. Impact of strength. Civilizations score culture based on their relative strength. In a 2-player game, the strongest player scores 10 points, and that is blue. So blue scores 10 points. Impact of wonders. Each civilization scores culture for each completed wonder. 5 from age A, 4 from age 1, 3 from age 2, and 2 from age 3. So we've got 3 wonders completed here. We have 1 from age A, so that's 5 points. 1 from age 1, so that's 4, 9 points, and then 1 from age 3, 11 points for red. And then blue also has 3 completed wonders. 1 from age A, so that's 5 points. Age 2 is 3, so that's 8 points, and then 2 more, so 10 points for blue. Then we have impact of colonies. Each civilization scores 3 culture points per colony. This civilization has 2, so that's 6 points for red, and 3 colonies here, so that's 9 points for blue. Now we have the last one, impact of architecture. Each civilization scores 1 point per level of each of its urban buildings. So 2 computer labs is 6 plus scientific method. 2, that's 8. 10 plus 3 is 13. 13 for red. And we've got 6, 10, 13, 14, 15, 16. 16 for blue. Blue wins with a score of 220 points. Red is in second place with a score of 180 points. That is a playthrough of Through the Ages, A New Story of Civilization. I hope I didn't make too many terrible mistakes. Hopefully I caught the ones that I made. I'm sure there are other mistakes in there, so please forgive me. But hopefully this was helpful, at least in understanding how the game is played. Thanks for visiting the Dragon Table. I will see you next time.